Banditry started under the watch of APC because they were the one that brought them in. It was 1992-93 in Kaduna. A riot broke out which they call the Zango Kataf riot. I was a young boy, very, very young then. And people were killed in scores. If you are not an Afsa person practicing Muslim in Islam, they were killed. Especially if you are from the southern part of Kaduna, the tribes from the southern part of Kaduna, they were massacred. It was called the Zango Kataf riot. And if the next thing they do is to burn churches, kill Christians, and then if they are done with that, then they focus on businesses that is for Igbo people, Igbo owned businesses, and they destroyed it. I grew up knowing that Christians are an endangered species in Nigeria. In the year 2000, when the Sharia riots, how many of you have heard of the Sharia riot? Hundreds of thousands of people were killed in Kaduna. I can remember vividly that we had to defend our house from people. They brought some Fulani boys and they faced our house. They were shooting arrows. They were stoning our zinc. They spot our zinc shooting arrows. Even though I was a Muslim then, even though my father was a Muslim then, but because majority of the people in our compound were Christians, so they were willing to destroy every one of us because we're living with Christians. I can remember a particular church in Mando, for those that know Mando, in Kaduna, called Chapel of Redemption. That church was destroyed. And so from that time, anytime there's a little hanky-panky in Nigeria, the first target is churches and Christians. And this has prevailed for a long time. That even if there's a problem with in another country, the Muslim and the Hausas in Nigeria will rise up and begin to kill Christians. How many of you remember the Miss World crisis in 2002, 2001, 2002? That somebody drew a picture of Muhammad or something in France, long away in France, and they began to fight in Nigeria. Are you following me? Christians are endangered species. Now let me give you, and that's how it has continued. Scores have been killed, and they focus on regions where there is a mixture of both Christianity and Islam. If you look at states like Kaduna, state like Plateau State, state like Nasarawa, state like Taraba, state like Benue, state like Bauchi, state like Gombe, state like Borno. These are places where they focus on because they intend to eliminate every living Christian in that place. Anybody that debunked it is a total lie, because I have grown and lived in the north. I've spent 80 to 80% of my life in the north, so I understand this thing. Several times, I cannot forget the Sharia riot. We were running for our lives. Even though we were Muslims, but we're still running, because as far as you are not of the ethnic group practicing what they practice, you are a victim. You can be burnt alive. Many of us saw human beings that were burnt alive, like roasted like yam. And it has been going on for a long time. The genocide against the Christian faith. Are you with me? Many years ago, in Kano State, a man was beheaded. And anything they talk about, he said blasphemy. And guess who was the person that led it? The man called Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, was the one that led him on. And they beheaded him, they killed the Igbo man. They killed him and they put his head on the stake and they were using it to parade the city. You will understand of a woman also that is an evangelist. Evangelist Eunice that was preaching about 2016 or 18 in Abuja. And they killed her. We cannot talk about a young girl called Deborah Samuel that was killed. I schooled in Jos, and for years, the people of Plateau have been massacred. Riot breaking out every single time. The world that the moment anything happens, the next people that are victims are Christians. And it is unfortunate that all this year the government have not been able to do anything about it. But the agenda is deep. Are you with me this morning? Why am I saying? Because I don't want us to be an ignorant people. If we are ignorant people, they will control the narrative. And this days, let me tell you this truth. God will not come and fight for you. Remove that thing from your mind. If Christians don't rise up, pray from now till tomorrow. God is not coming to fight for you. Are you with me? Now, in the year 2009, Boko Haram started. Boko Haram started because of a section. It was a political movement. They created Boko Haram as a political talks to bring confusion into the government of Goodluck Jonathan. And to be able to, destroy any opposition, starting from Borno State, under the watch of a man called Kashim Shettima, which is now the vice president of Nigeria. Kashim Shettima and the other man, Ali Mohammed Sharif. These were the people that started the business of Boko Haram as a political talks to be able to oppose their opponents. But after a time, the ideology grew and they began to destroy. Now, it became a problem and they began to use it to destroy, bombing here and there. In 2009, 2010. As of 2010, a man led a meeting in Jos. Are you with me? He led a meeting that they were going to annihilate Christians within the locality of Plateau, Borno, Plateau, Bauchi, Kaduna, and Nasarawa. And he said they are going to perform jihad. They will bring jihad and they will go to Peter. If the Islamic leaders are not willing to lead them, he is ready to lead the movement. I have the minute of that meeting in my phone presently. Guess who is that person? Isa Pantami, that was the former Minister of Communication under Buhari's regime. And several times, these are people that are terrorist sympathizers. And that is why the Nigerian army have not been able to win the war against the terrorism. Because people have, the terrorists have infiltrated the Nigerian ranks, the army ranks, so they cannot win the war. That said, Osama bin Laden was a better Muslim than he is. He was sad when Osama bin Laden was killed. And he has said it several times that Boko Haram should not be killed. He said they are their Muslim brothers. How do you win a war against terrorism when there are people high in government that are sympathizers to terrorism? How do you win that war? Now, there are 4 categories of insecurity or people that are causing insecurity. Number 1, you have Boko Haram. Number 2, you have bandits. Number 3, you have Fulani herdsmen. Now I'm going to show you how they are connected. Many people don't know. The Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen have one mission. The mission is simple: Islamize Nigeria. Come to a territory that are Christian dominated, kill everybody there, occupy their land. Go to Benue, look for a community, kill them there, occupy their land. That's always me. Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen. Have you noticed that Fulani herdsmen they don't kidnap, they kill? There's hardly a place you hear that Fulani herdsmen capture that they say these are Fulani herdsmen. No, when they go, they kill. How do they kill? They kill with guns. You must now ask yourself, how does a Fulani man get AK-47? Do you know the cost of one AK-47? One AK-47 is over $1,000 something. Where will a Fulani man be able to obtain to get one AK-47? Are you with me? And now, so you will know that there are people that are sponsoring this movement. Then the Boko Haram and the Fulani, they go about Christian-dominated areas. You will understand that when this terrorism started in Nigeria, that only people that were killed were Christian churches. You will not hear that they killed anyone. It is Christians and churches. I remember in Kaduna then that churches began to look for security men to guide their churches in every service day. Otherwise, you can be in church and the next is boom, everybody dies. And churches that don't have money to hire soldiers began to use some of their members. I was a member of the security team in my church in Deeper Life in Kaduna in 2010. Because we don't stay in the church. Once I come to the church in the morning, we stay outside, moving around patrolling, because anybody can come and drop anything. So when Boko Haram started, the majority of Muslims, the Hausa, Northern Muslims, they were happy. I know people that were celebrating it. If you see them crying today, I'll tell you why. At the initial beginning of this thing, they were happy celebrating the killings of Christians. They said they are purging Nigeria of army. It was majorly on Christians and Christian-dominated areas. But when it comes to 2014, the man Buhari and APC that wanted to overthrow the government of Jonathan, by all means, decided to employ mercenaries from Niger, from Chad, from all those Fulani, from other African nations where they're Fulani, and they brought them into Nigeria. What was the goal? The goal was that if Jonathan does not concede defeat in the election, they were going to rain hell on Nigeria. So they brought in these mercenaries, and they equipped them with rifles, the El-Rufais, the Buharis. Are you with me? The El-Rufai, the Buharis. Every one of these people called APC, they brought in mercenaries and armed them in the bushes and told them to wait. The moment Goodluck Jonathan did not concede defeat in the election, they were going to start. But unfortunately for them, Goodluck knew of the assignment. He got intel about it, and because the man said his ambition does not worth the blood of millions. So the man conceded defeat and left. And so they declared APC winner. Now, you have already brought people from different parts to come and fight. But what they wanted to come and fight for did not achieve anymore. So now they left those people in the bush. They left them with guns and ammunition in the bush. And when Buhari became the president, he abandoned them. Instead of them to settle them and let them go back, they abandoned them. And the people saw Nigeria as a place that is good. And the people decided to remain in Nigeria. Those are the people that started bandits. Before, we don't have anything like bandits. Banditry started under the watch of APC, under Buhari, because they were the ones that brought them in. Kidnapping, because they needed to survive. So they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. Over time, now, you understand that there are certain parts of this nation where there are mineral resources. Don't be an ignorant Christian. Follow me. Don't be an ignorant Christian. Don't be in a nation where you don't have understanding of what is happening. Now, there are some parts of Nigeria where there are good resources. And so, and this is have been illegally mined by elite, the military generals, the oligarchs, the people that are the leadership of the North. They were mining these resources, and the money does not go into the federal government account. So what they do is that they employ the services of this banditry to create two things. Number one, to create diversion. So when you go to Zamfara, that's why you hear that they say there is killing in Zamfara now. It's because of the Ilema gold mine. There is gold in Zamfara that they are mining. And so these bandits that are already in the bush, some people collaborate with them, partnered with them, and told them to see, keep creating confusion, create chaos. When you keep creating chaos, the Nigerian state and the people of Nigeria will not be able to focus on the illegal mining. They'll be concerned about the insecurity. So the insecurity is created as a means of diversion in the north. Are you following me? It is created as a means of diverting the attention of the military and the Nigerian populace from being able to focus on the illegal mining of resources. And any part of the north where there is resource, you find out that insecurity there. Recently, it has started in Kwara because there's a great amount of lithium in Kwara too that they have discovered and they're mining. So they partner with the Chinese because the people that does this illegal mining are the Chinese. They partner with the Chinese to be able to. So the bandits became the security men of Chinese and all those people to protect them. So that while they are mining, they can begin to cause chaos. Because while the people are mining and they are causing chaos, kidnapping, nobody will be able to focus on what the Chinese are doing and those people illegal mining. Every single day to this moment, I'm telling you, they are mining in those places. And they will take it to an airfield in the bush and fly it out of Nigeria. They are making billions of dollars from it every day while people are being killed. That is why you now hear that Muslims are saying that they are killing Muslims too. What you have, it is what Buhari created. The APC-led administration created. The banditry they created is what is affecting the North now. Because the people they brought to come and kill Nigeria in 2015 did not succeed because good luck relinquished power to them. And now the people have become thugs. They have become tools to be used in the hand of men that are using them to secure their illegal gold mines. And that's why you kill them. That's why you hear that they say they are killing Muslims. Now, the Christian persecution and genocide has been there. So you find out that the other part, the Muslim and the Fulani men keep going around killing in all those parts. And the Christians and the churches have been silent for too long. This evil has prevailed in Nigeria because the righteous men have been too quiet. If we're ever going to win against insecurity in Nigeria, Nigeria must put two things Nigeria must do. Number one, Sharia law must be completely abolished in Nigeria. Because Nigeria is not an Islamic state. Why will Nigeria, some part of Nigeria, be practicing Sharia? The law guiding them, constitutional law, that believe that if somebody deserves to die because he speaks against his God. Can an Hausa man insult Jesus and I kill him for insulting Jesus? But somebody believe when you speak against Muhammad, you deserve to die. How do you live in a country with somebody that have that kind of mentality? The military have become complicit. They are compromised. Nigerian military cannot win this war. 20 years from today, I'm telling you, 20 years from today, this thing of insecurity will not end because there are people that are enjoying it, benefiting from it, and reaping from it. If Nigeria wants to win this war, partner with America. Let them come and militate. I'm not sure I've seen that in Kano yesterday, some people were protesting that they don't want America to come. Because they believe what they have been told is that if America is coming to kill Muslims, and the man says he wants to come and kill terrorists, but they are protesting. Anybody that is negotiating, people like Ahmed Gumi, Sheikh Gumi should be locked away. A terrorist sympathizer is a terrorist. A man that believes that you are not supposed to kill a terrorist is himself a terrorist. A man that believes that we should go and negotiate. How do you go and negotiate with terrorists? Because you see, terrorists are not just criminals. They are working with the wrong ideology. A man that believes that killing himself, he has nothing to lose. How do you negotiate with a man that believes that killing himself is going to meet their God in heaven to collect 72 virgins? How do you negotiate with such a person? A man like Sheikh Gumi should be locked away. A man like Ali Muhammad Buhari should be arrested. You want to win against terrorism, you must go brutal. No nation win against terrorism by pampering them. The custom is taking rice, seizing rice from Nigeria and taking it to terrorists in the bush that they need to take care of them because they are human beings. To know the moment you have become a terrorist, that you see that taking the life of your fellow human being is nothing, is to please a God, then you don't deserve to live. Children of God, I'm not going to ask you to pray because this is not a period of prayer. This is a period of action. Reverend Dr. Ezekiel from Jos, the man have been speaking, have paid attention. Not for once have they invited the man for interview because they don't want to give the man any airtime. But you see, any little thing they will call Gumi and give him microphone. Gumi, they are inviting Gumi up and down. The media is complicit. The Nigerian military are complicit. You can't win war with this Nigerian army, not because they don't have the capacity, but because they are compromised. Buhari created banditry. The people like Gumi and the rest of them, they are the people that facilitated the idea of Boko Haram. And today, some of them are your leaders in government. Some of them, most of them are moving free. Not one have been arrested. Kabiru Sokoto that bombed Nyanyan in 2011. When they rearrested him, guess where they got him? In the house of Shetima in Abuja. What is he doing in the house of Shetima if Shetima doesn't know him? But today, Shetima is your vice president. How do you win a war where terrorists are ruling you? Where terrorist sympathizers are moving around? This is not a period to say we are praying. No! This is a period of wisdom. This is a period of action. Churches in the south have no idea. They sit in their cozy churches with us employing them. They don't know what it means to be in the north. They don't know what it means to be running for your life. That every Sunday in the church there in Kaduna, when they say let us pray, everyone is praying with one eye open. Because you don't know God might go up at any time in the church. The Nigerian church must rise up. There's an agenda. And if you read the minute of that meeting in 2010 led by Isa Patami, you will not believe it. I have a recording of his messages Where's our people? Why would they be killing their people? He said, why would they be killing his Muslim brothers, referring to Boko Haram as their Muslim brothers? How do you win with such a people in government? And that guy was a minister under Buhari for 8 years. Do you know what I'm telling you this morning? You are a Nigerian. If you are not aware of what is happening around you, in a short time, one day your calamity will just come. You will not know how. Are you with me? The banditry that is destroying them in the north was created by the people Buhari brought for mercenaries to destroy Nigeria in 2015 in case he did not win. Unfortunately, he won, and those people were left without fight. And they began to use the weapons they have been provided for. These guys have sophisticated their weapon. They move logistics, move money in dollars. Where do you think they're getting it from? You think it's from the sale of cow? No.